G'day everyone and welcome to the VFL Innings. I'm Lachlan Madison. Now all the VFL for tonight is Bombers. The history of the Essendon Football Club, 2002 DVD from 7 Sport, and here we go.
The Essendon Football Club had its roots in the mists of time. Its origins are sketchy, but historians point at 1872 as the likely birth date. While the club won the first ever VFL Premiership in 1897, we are going to pick the story up some 40 years later. With the help of one of the club's great champions, Tim Watson, we are going to journey from the glory days of the late 30s, when the impeccably fair King Richard, Dick Reynolds, ruled Windy Hill, through to the present. From Reynolds to Sheedy, 60 years that filled the trophy cabinets that made young men heroes. This is the story of the Bombers. This is Essendon.
When the greats of Essendon's past get together to chat about the good old days, there in the middle of every gathering is the King. At 83, Dick Reynolds has maintained his marvellous regal bearing.
Look, you're great. Look, thanks very much for everything you've done for me. Thanks to Dave for making this day a happy day for me. And I say, only hope the club goes on to be bigger and better all that time, because it means a lot to us all and all. Anyway, once again, thanks everybody. Good, thank you.
He is the icon, whose name and deeds are legendary, not only at Windy Hill, but throughout the width and breadth of this footballing nation. The Hall of Fame at Essendon might at first glance be a shrine to his deeds, and why not? This was a youngster who won the first of his 7 club bests and fairest in his second year as an 18-year-old, 64 years ago. The same year he won the first of his 3 Brownlow medals. He had come to the club after a brief tryout with Carlton in 1931, played a couple of pre-season practice games, and after being picked for the first game of the 1933 season in the seniors, would go on and play a league record 320 games with the club.
When I was a kid, I was a Carlton supporter. Mum and Dad barracked for Carlton, and then we came to live over in Ascot Vale, and it was pretty hard to change over. But I tell you what, if I'd gone to Carlton, I wouldn't have got a bloody game.
In his first season, he would finish alongside Hayden Bunton, tied for 7th in the 10th Brownlow medal to be awarded. The next year, he would beat Bunton by a vote. This was no gala held in a packed ballroom or covered nationally on television.
Well, they rang us up at home, and we had to go into Harrison House. Oh, I nearly fell over it. Like, you know, I didn't believe I had a show at all. I just wanted to see how many votes I got. And when they announced ringing, the family went mad and they were dancing around there, and I was more or less like a stunned lizard, I reckon.
In 1937 and 38, the newspaper and radio reporters would again flock to his home in Moonee Ponds to celebrate his wins. Reynolds was an idolised sportsman, scrupulously fair, the bloke with the huge heart, who could turn a game.
Dick was one of a kind in our days. He could run fast with his hands on the ground as fast as everybody could standing up. He was a class act.
Big for a rover and very quick, very quick. He was a natural. I mean, they're born, I think, well, not know, they're born that way.
While Reynolds was distinguishing himself on the playing arena, Essendon was languishing down the ladder. Not since the Mosquito Fleet years of 1924-25 had the club known Premiership success, or in fact seriously challenged the might of Collingwood, Richmond, Geelong or South Melbourne. Early in the 1939 season, Jack Baggott, the former Richmond forward, stood down as coach, claiming to have lost the confidence of his committee. Into his place stepped the 25-year-old Reynolds and former player Harry Hunter. In 1940, Reynolds took over as captain coach. It would be the beginning of a sensational decade for the Bombers. That year, they would play in the finals for the first time in 14 years, finishing third. In 1941, they would lose to Melbourne in the grand final. This would become a familiar sight to football fans in the 40s. The Bombers lining up in the official team photo. This time at Princes Park, Dick Reynolds, front and centre, and in 1942 and 43 he would toss the coin with the rugged and feared Captain Blood, Jack Dyer. Dyer, the roughhouse tiger, and Reynolds, the dapper Don. Mortal enemies then, today adored by the football world. In 1981, they were side by side on World of Sport.
I think you're lucky to win a Brownlow medal. Honestly, I never thought I'd win 3. I hoped to win 1.
So did I, Dick.
Yeah.
Dick Reynolds, it's lovely to have you here. And as I said before, I'm very sincere when I say one of the greatest footballers that I've ever seen.
Anyway, thank you, Jack. You've been great, and I do appreciate for all the years the fun and we used to hate one another. No?
Yeah, but you told me if I gave you a push-up, you'd push me up. That's all.
And that's the end of the 70 Robins. Thanks for watching, and join us next time for another great AFL DVD from the archives on the Robins. Good night.